we want to talk about measureQuick, some updates and some training opportunities that we have. Okay, some of you have actually done training opportunities. Okay, if you come to Ohio, I just did one in Denver recently on Train the Trainers. What I realize is that independent trainer for measureQuick is not a reality. All right, because people aren't like, man, we need to pay somebody to come over and train us, but we do have one person that kind of does that when I can't get there. So, hey, Valerie, can you send a text to Ben and remind him to come over? Ben Chenard?
Oh.
Yes,
yeah,
he's inside. So.
Ben and Chad.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What I realized though is that somebody in your company helping be able to train measureQuick is beyond valuable. All right. And I also realized that while I was training people, that if you couldn't just look at a screen and know how to tell somebody where they were at and where to take them to, then you were struggling yourself. Okay. So we tried to implement a few ways, and we're digging in heavy here in February to even improve that. Okay. So if anybody's used our LMS, you're like, that was awkward, because the first thing Jim talks about is benchmarking. Like, really? That's your introduction to measureQuick is benchmarking. I'm like, no, let's figure out a way to kind of guide people through this as a process. So based on feedback that I've gotten from you guys, we now have a new option that's in regular measureQuick. So if you have the app, you can open it up right now and I'll guide you through it. It's at the very bottom of a workflow. And it's got a big question mark next to it. And it is just the ability to go through measureQuick without any probes connected and without any system. And we've always had this demo data that you could actually put into the app, but we're like, I want to take it one further, because if you do our new guided workflows, may use the guided workflows at all? Yes, no, kind of, yeah, acknowledge, yes, no, okay, all right. So, great, I spent like 6 months of my life creating guided workflows, and people were like, I didn't, thank you, Tim, thank you. I didn't know they were out. So prior to these guided workflows, you had to be a measureQuick creative artist to go, if you want to do the workflow. Yeah, you go here, and you go there, and you skip that, and you come back and you do that, and then you run outside, and you come back inside. So all that's kind of gone. We're like, okay, we're going to start outside, and we're going to start inside, and we're going to do what we need to inside, turn the system off, set up your probes, go through the process, right, and then get your measurements and go outside and do the same thing. Turn it off, work safely, and do that. For people that know how to use measureQuick, it's very limiting. You're like, wow, no, I don't need this guidance. You don't need to tell me what to do next. But what we're working on as part of our 3.0 is you can help figure out what is your guided workflow look like for you and your company, right? Not individual techs, but like, here's how we're going to work this. Or if you are your own guy, you can figure out how you want to work it. All of our checklists will be soon to become make your own checklist. Like, you know what? Jim is crazy. Why is he asking all this crap? I don't care about that. I care about these things, and Jim didn't put it in our checklist. So we're going to give you the opportunity to make your own checklist, figure out your own order, figure out how it is that measureQuick should work for you. Okay. In the meantime, at the bottom of your app, I see Tim's playing along. Way to go, Tim. Tim's a good student. At the bottom of your app, so if you're like, hey, I'm going to start a job, and you go to your at the very bottom of all your workflows, it's got this new question mark, right? At the bottom there, it allows you to go through all of measureQuick and play with the whole thing and learn it in the classroom, learn it privately, learn it at home, learn it anywhere you want. I don't need any money, and I don't need any probes. And I can now learn the workflow and find out, this is something we want to do, or we're going to do part of it or none of it, or we'll stay with just using basic diagnostics, okay? The one thing that I've learned from the process is, like, people say, oh yeah, I use the Fieldpiece app. It's a great app, right? But there's some things that it doesn't give you, including diagnostics or thresholds or guides or what should my numbers be, all right? No targets, all right? So this is our gauge screen. It's 1.0 for those of you who have been around long enough to understand that concept, okay? So I was able to just start a non-invasive test because I don't have any pressure probes over there, and I can actually I can find my readings, okay? I can scroll across and see all of the readings that I would get out of this. I can go to my diagnostics and see diagnostics right now. This is free, all right? If I'm like, well, I just want to get the measurements. I just want to see what are my indoor measurements. Here's all my indoor measurements, all right? If I want to see my outdoor measurements, I can do that also. It's all part of the process. Go to outdoor measurements, okay? Same thing you would get. It depends on what it is you're looking for in terms of simplicity. We try to do that, all right? we're going to try and give you another view that's very similar to what you have here or what you've seen in the field piece. Do you want a list view? Do I want gauges? What do I want? So I'm asking you to think of that through as to what it is that you're looking for out of a quick diagnostic process. You know, like Joe, it'd be great if it looked like this and you scribble something on a piece of paper and be like, you know, these numbers and these numbers are how I do that. Because measureQuick, since Jim really originated, we do all our own in-house programming. And we fix the problems, and you guys find the problems, and you're like, an update. You're like, God dang, another update today? So we keep fixing these problems, and now we have all of these code corrections, right? And there's a lot of baggage that's hanging around measureQuick. So we're rewriting every line right now. 3 months of our program are doing nothing but da-da-da-da-da and taking what we learned works and rewriting it. So when it comes out in April or so, it'll be mean and clean and give all of these opportunities that you want for your own checklists and your own opportunities or your own workflows. So whatever you can do is give us feedback now would help us a lot. So then we don't have to like fix it later. You can send an email to me. I got my cards. It's Joe at measureQuick. You can send it to Jim if you want. Whatever it is, we'll get your feedback. All right? Yeah.
Where does it fit in the VRF marketplace?
VRF? Oh, yeah. So, are you talking the mini split, or are you talking just variable speed standard systems? I'm trying to make sure we're on the same language.
For instance, the Mitsubishi Zubas and...
Yeah, right. Okay. So the challenge with all of those is that, and we talked to Mitsubishi on high levels, Daikin on the highest levels, and we're like, you know what? What are the measurements and pressures we should be reading out of those systems? And they're like, well, we actually don't know ourselves. Like, it's a tight-knit secret that only Japan keeps, and they're like, sorry, that's proprietary, nothing for you, America, on any level, right? We're looking for more people to push them into like, hey, you need to disclose this. DOE needs to be like, hey, you know what, if we need a third-party analysis and confirmation, we need to know that. But the challenge is, as you know better than even really I do, is that there is no more standard refrigerant measurements. It's all a variable vapor here and vapor there, and we're guessing. So if you look at our workflow, it says mini splits, whatever, it says beta next to it, because we're like, you know what, we debated, like, just take it out. People are like, no, we'll use it for what it is. And so we left it, but it says beta. Beta means good luck. Okay, that's really what it really means, okay? It's not like we're trying to fix it, because there is no fix, okay? So we're trying. We would love input on that. There are electrical tricks that you can do to try and make some assessments as to whether or not it's pulling the right voltage and amperage. But again, those are really like not the highest level of diagnostics. Feedback?
Yeah, I'd have to think about how we interface with our systems.
Sure.
To see how it might work with ours.
Right. The other thing we're doing, so again, I didn't grow up as a technician. I'm a building science guy. So I came in from left field. That's why Jim hired me. He's like, Joe doesn't know shit, so I need to hire Joe and bring him in, because he'll be the perfect new technician, right, trying to figure this out.
Me on everything.
It's right. No, I don't. I does and I do not. You know, so I describe it as that I don't work for Jim, I work with Jim, because that's our relationship. It really is a true relationship. I have no problem telling him that's stupid and your app is not usable, Jim, let's fix it. And it took him about 9 months, and he accepted it, and he's really happy that we've made some major changes. That's right. So, but one of the things that I realize is that when you're doing a lot of installs, for most of the country, it's too cold to really do superheat, subcool. You can't use these things that the manufacturer says. So I'm like, I challenged Jim the other day. I'm like, Jim, we need to find another solution. The jacket is an option, right? There's a variety of solutions. People have these tents that they're creating. I'm like, let's force the industry to measure reasonably. You know, you're not going to measure at 0 degrees, right? But there is a place where you're like, I'm below my 60 threshold and I'm still above 30 something that I could do that. So we're working right now on, okay, how can I add the charging jacket to the process, and you use measureQuick and you enter your outdoor temperature and you're able to get an analysis that at least you can be like, you know what, I have a higher confidence of this than just, I think it's that. And what's really disappointing is that nobody goes back. Who here says, yes, we always go back and commission them with real temperature?
The only time you do, you go back when it's a callback.
When it's a callback, sorry. So,
you
yeah.
find out that it's way overcharged or whatever.
So Rayo Cook is a company out of California, and they adopted measureQuick without ever talking to us. They didn't ask Jim to come out and train them or whatever. They're like, in fact, the owner went out and bought all the tools for everybody. So okay, over 2 weeks, I want you to come in. Everybody comes in, and all their tools are in their freaking boxes. So he's okay, yeah, right. He goes, hey, hang here for just a second, get a coffee and donut. He goes out to their trucks and takes out all of their gauges. That day, they had to learn measureQuick and figure it out. That's right, okay, deep in for you, no life preserver, good luck. So, but they also realized that commissioning that same day really wasn't a reality, all right? And they're in a California climate, so September, that's it. All hands on deck. We're gonna go back and recommission everything. They do the same for furnaces as the heating season's winding down. So they actually commission much longer afterwards, so they know, they have higher confidence in what they did as a guess, and now let's really go back and actually commission the system as a service. You think of it as a maintenance call, but they're actually commissioning months later than what they normally do. Yeah.
So our utility won't let us leave the house until it's commissioned.
But how do you commission when you're just guessing based upon
Commissioning sheets.
commissioning? Yeah, okay, checklist. Yeah, right. So you don't even need to go to the house to do that. It's a joke. It's a joke. Okay, right. Okay, right. Yes.
We know that would be.
Okay, now that we no longer talk about the, yeah, that's right, the wintertime conditions, is get them to use measureQuick. And when they own this side, now they get to go back to being a regular technician. Okay, that's always the challenge. Is they're like, what do I do next? What do I do next? And they actually forget that they got all these great readings and diagnostics over here, right? So the sooner you get them to just power through the process, then they don't even think about it. Then they can start going, okay, let me see what my diagnostics are. Let me see what's going on indoor. Let me see when I'm outdoor. What are my readings? What are my diagnostics? So I highly encourage you, this is the time to embed measureQuick into what their process is. Even if they're not going to go out and use it, this is their time to start getting familiar with it, right? Like any app, get familiar with it now, all right? And then start integrating with your own. Who here has a really good trainer in-house? All right. So you got ducts, you got registers, you got static pressures. Yeah, those are the things that we really are looking for. So you didn't raise your hand. Really? Okay, shit, okay.
One problem we have is it seems like I've got.
Wait, real quick. I didn't have to introduce him, but introduce where you're from, what you guys are doing.
Mark Stout, have owner of Stout Heating and Air in Salisbury, North Carolina.
Thanks.
So anyway, one thing that we have is the guys, they do the measureQuick, and then they'll text me that afternoon, said, you know, I sent it, or look at it, and I look incomplete with nothing there. So how, is there something that confirms to them that it did go to me?
All right, so we'll try and make a note. So when you go through the workflow, at the end it says finish. It's a green button. It's not a big green button, but it's a regular green button. It says finish, and then everything gets saved to the cloud, saved to your CRM, and then it goes back to the beginning, right? So what happens is they show up at the next job, and they're like, oh, I'm back at this other job. Why am I here? And they just will hit cancel that job. So they just lost everything. So if you're not saving at the end, then it's really, especially if you unlocked it, you're like, and people will call us up like, how do I get that? I'm like, you can't.
And, you know, their excuse is, we didn't have internet service there, and we do have a lot of choppy spots.
So in that case, everything you do in measureQuick and you go to hit finish always uses this as your backup. This is always your plan B. It's saved here all the time. Yeah, that's right. And
So
that's easily to retrieve.
When you get into cell phone range, it will download.
It can't be an excuse anymore.
Yeah, but no, but it's not automatic. We're working on that, but it's not automatic, just to be fair. Okay, I don't want to mislead you that, oh, where'd it go? It didn't come back. So, yeah, right. Okay. So, real quick, some of you identify yourself as trainers, or you want to be a trainer or champion, and tell me one thing that you, I don't want to hear all positive stuff. I want to hear, like, you know what, if it was me, I'd like to see this, okay? Thank you. We'll start right here. Finn.
I am a trainer.
Well, tell us what you guys are doing.
Oh,
what did you improve?
So,
you hold it and pass it on.
What I can do to improve?
Yeah, what's one thing, no, not you.
Oh.
Thank you, though. There's a lot. We can all help you.
I got tons of
What's
improving
one thing
to
that you'd
do.
like to see measureQuick do next?
All
That's right. What's next for measureQuick on your agenda?
measureQuick on our agenda, we're about to start input. We just hired a guy on Friday. He's going to be our commissioning tech. That's his title. So we're going to make him a measureQuick expert. He's going to go to the job just like you were just talking, and he's going to go to, after the install's done, he's going to be the commissioning guy. Independent commissioning guy, and that's going to be his only job. And so that's how we're going to implement it.
All right, Mike, tell us about what you're doing.
All right, my name's Mike Henderson. I'm I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Recently, I was acquired by another company who doesn't have the same values as I once did. So I'm starting over with measureQuick. I need measureQuick to support me in the numbers game. So I got to report to a service manager, a general manager. If you can help me out with that, hopefully I can get measureQuick on board.
Okay, all right.
Here, I'll pass on since I've already talked.
Step up, come on. Why are you here?
Come on.
It's okay. Thanks.
What was the question? What's the question, Joe?
The question is to tell us where you're from and what we could do to make measureQuick better for you, John.
John Whitehead, Marshalltown, Iowa, Honest Heating and Cooling Incorporated. First off, thanks for what you have done at measureQuick to allow us to kindly see ourselves out of the darkness. And you guys don't claim to be the light, but you have tools to measure it, and that's changed everything for us. And so we appreciate that. What you could do as measureQuick as a provider is, for me, Ben Reed has addressed this with my technological challenges and my straight up don't give a shit approach to technology. I'm not invested in learning all of these processes. I'm commissioning my staff, our commissioning specialist, to learn these processes, and we're struggling just a little bit with the implementation of the combustion analysis process. We're not embarrassed about it. Our sourman's still, saving lives, altering people's health, and addressing lots of safety issues that we didn't have any regard for before. However, we kind of feel like we are, when it comes to it, because we're not fully playing the game by the rules. And so what I would encourage is to maybe commission Ben and Chad to maybe shoot a series out of Fast Track that just kind of breaks it down to the layman, and that way Cody, who is educated by them, could properly break it down to the dumbest one in the company, me.
Well done. Robert, help us out.
I'm the owner of a contracting company in the Toronto area. We are NCI trained, so we're combustion trained in pretty much everything they have. We've been with NCI probably 20 years or more, and we obviously know of the system. We are currently not using the software, but we are doing all the measurements. So I would be interested to see how this folds in. We're looking at so
That's a great product.
we want it all to kind of be in one place, which under one software if possible.
Wow, that's so ironic because NCI and also ACA had apps.
Yes.
Just nobody really used well, right? So ACA had an app that they spent $1 million
course.
on, and 8 people used it. And they're
Yeah.
like, wow, maybe we should rethink this. So they came to us.
Yes.
We redid it and incorporated us. So we're doing the same with NCI.
Yes.
So NCI is going to be like what's called the entry diagnostics, and leads into measureQuick as the advanced diagnostics.
So it now makes sense to package it all together.
Yes.
We have probably a half a dozen worksheets we use for various processes, combustion, for instance, commissioning furnaces, commissioning air conditioners. They're all different sheets.
Right.
But to roll everything into software, because we're 100% paperless otherwise. We use Service Titan at the moment.
And they have checklists, but it is awkward.
It's awkward, and we're moving away from them, quite frankly. So,
Good for you.
so we're in the process of trying to package it all up, put it under one roof, and
Yeah, we need
make
to car
sense
because
of
we'll
it.
be sending you like, hey, here's where we're at. Or what do you think?
Absolutely.
We'll hang out because Canada only has about 15 people, so we're probably just down the road from me.
Josh Abraham, manage Abraham Heating and Air out of Omaha, Nebraska. For me, I've been using measureQuick off and on for a couple of years, but the heat pump side of it, we don't do a lot of, and that's kind of a confusing thing for us as techs in that area because, quite frankly, most people here are going to get mad when I say this. I hate heat pumps in Nebraska, but as I'm learning today or yesterday, they're a little bit more functionality, but the understanding on the app would help, a little bit simpler setup.
Okay.
So.
Good feedback. Thanks. Great. No, Danny. Danny's a trainer.
I haven't done anything with it, I'll be honest with you.
Tell him that you're a trainer and that I haven't done anything with it.
I fulfilled my job.
I do have a problem. I've actually moved from the field into the warehouse, so I haven't done much with measureQuick, but I want to find a way to
For us to keep track of all your...
Be active in the warehouse as part of the tech team to see what I can do to help them in the field the same way. So.
All right, Greg, you're the man.
All right. I'm Greg. I'm from New York. I think one of the big things that come to mind, which that question mark might answer it, when we're sitting down as training the team how to use it who never dealt with this before, some different ways that measureQuick could help would be like, you're sitting at a desk and let's go through what it looks like, and then we go to a live fire unit or something like that.
Yeah,
so I think the question, that question mark is going to help, and that's really the only thing I think of off the top of my head.
And I'm working on a sheet that they can put next to them as like, okay, this is the type of system, and here's some pictures, and here's where the pros would go, and so you feel as though it's an experience, and you've got some stuff to, let's profile the system with this information. So my goal is to create the accessory to what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and I think one of the other guys said it, like at the end when the tech is closing out, maybe have a prompt that says, congratulations, you're done with this, or it's been uploaded to ServiceTitan, or some type of prompt, just because the guys think they do it, and then they don't realize they didn't.
Yeah, it's just finished, it doesn't mean you have to,
you
have to press that.
Yeah, or like prompt, congratulations, uploaded to ServiceTitan, or something like that.
You're awesome.
Sweet.
Brandon Bolton, owner of Icon Heating and Cooling in Westchester, Ohio. Have not done anything outside of a demo with measureQuick, even though I've seen all the screens a bunch of times, but we are going all in for the ACA QI, so that's what we're going to be focusing on, as well as the reports for the maintenance and dropping all that off. So I don't really have a lot of personal hands-on feedback to give for measureQuick, but I do thank you guys for making it available, and we're going to figure it out. So.
I grew up in Westchester. Come back.
Right on.
Yeah, okay. All right, Rick, just so you know, all of my slide decks have an example of his success, so go ahead.
All right, so my name is Rick Stevens. I'm with Jones Services out of Goshen, New York. I've been using measureQuick for about 2 years now. I've been holding it.
Closer to this.
Been using measureQuick for about 2 years. What I use it for the most is that I can explain to customers exactly why their machine is working well or why it's not working well and why I'm recommending certain repairs. It helps even more, so if the repairs become too expensive, I can explain to them why I'm recommending a replacement instead of repairs.
So, in 30 seconds, just tell us about some of your successes, and I can help you with your percentage of sales went up 60% from before measureQuick and after measureQuick.
You should see this year's.
I can't wait.
We want to see this.
We want to see this year. That's right. So, but you were you were finding more things that were more money and get your clients to show why they should improve them, and ultimately your company got a better sale, but you made a much better commission.
Absolutely. Again, a measureQuick helps you describe what's going on with your equipment, and I use the technical information, turn it into layman's terms, and then I explain it to the customer as to why we're recommending what we're recommending. And when you show it to them on a tablet of exactly what their machine is doing at the time, they can't say, "Oh, you just made that up." It's literally right in front of them. So.
And you can convert it to layman's terms. In fact, I got feedback the other day about how to turn this into more layman's terms for your clients. Okay, somebody said total external static pressure. That should be called duct pressure. So we're going to work on it. I'll gladly get your feedback too.
In terms they understand.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, in terms they understand. If this is a cooling system and it says heat transfer. Wait, what? I'm not understanding those things. So our goal is to make this something your clients can actually get. So.
Okay.
All right. Any other feedback or something that you wish you'd said now? Are you using measureQuick? Are you using measureQuick?
I am. I'm using it on.
Oh, right, here you go. Here, tell us who you are. Okay.
Tim Conway from Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm using it more on a energy type application. I worked for a small college. I went and I retro commissioned all their equipment with measureQuick, and I found less than 20% of the units were within the 350 to 400 CFM range, because it was all, they were either way low or way high. And I would say that I could show them prior, I'd get the airflow right, get the refrigerant right,
and I was increasing efficiency, and this was all commercial equipment, anywhere from 5 tons to 30 ton. But I was, probably on average increasing efficiency 25 to 30%. Because they weren't properly serviced, the coils were dirty, the airflow was never set up, and every one that I set up, I'd have to redo the refrigerant charge because they're all overcharged. So it was a great learning experience, but I pretty much took what you guys taught and did it in the commercial end.
And use it for your purpose. Yeah, you can use it for commercial, but you got to be a top technician to understand how to improve this.
Exactly.